Hey everyone, Sari here, and welcome back to another week of Astra Season Offense matches. After CYL, I had several ideas I was looking forward to trying, but Surtur had a bonus season going on this week, so he ended up being the star of the show. I haven't used a full safe ball on an offense team before, so putting this together was fun to figure out, and they wound up sweeping the entire week. Surtur himself is an extremely powerful near-save user. While his weapon is almost identical to Gustav's, being a lance instead gives him a great matchup against most melee threats he encounters on defense teams. The damage reduction he gets against the first hit is really valuable, especially if he can one-shot his attacker with a bonfire-fueled counterattack. Although, we did run into a few situations where he was actually too fast to get the effect. His other skills are nearly identical to my current Zelgius build. Unity keeps his most important stats safe from enemy debuffs, and Steady Breath gives him the special acceleration he needs for instant bonfires. Crafty Fighter gives him a guard effect and a second bonfire in case the first one doesn't do the job, while Near Save rounds out the set by letting him protect his nearby allies. Felix, as usual, is a fantastic far-safe bodyguard. His excellent speed really helps him stand apart from other Hector-shaped options, giving him a much easier time handling opponents like Thracier or Impact users. Cancelling enemy debuffs with Distant Defense 4 is really valuable these days, and having a guard effect that isn't tied to a health threshold can come in handy in tight situations. Gatekeeper is another new face on the team, and is part of why I ended up trying a full safe ball strategy this week. His kit is really well suited to a supportive role, but Detailed Report also wants him to be on the front lines to take full advantage of it, so backing him up with safe armors is a pretty natural solution. His supercharged Obstruct is a lot of fun to play with and makes it very easy to force opponents to attack him, which makes Spurs an excellent support skill for him to use. Altogether, he provides his armored buddies with 11 attack, 5 speed, 3 defense, and 3 res, all while keeping the enemy team in an easily managed formation. I also gave him reciprocal aid. The team's biggest weakness is a lack of any true healing, so having the option to rearrange health bars can be really useful for surviving a second enemy phase with significant threats. The Mythics are tailored to support the team. While I would have liked to use Asher instead of Reagan this week, she was a few merges behind, until Micaiah's banner launched at least. Plumeria's kit is very valuable for the team, using guidance to help the armors keep some semblance of mobility while also being able to donate even more defenses to their bulk. Naga, meanwhile, continues to provide a very valuable dragon slaying buff to the team. And while it was mostly overkill this week, it's nice to have. Now that we've gone over the team, let's get to the first match. This match is going to be a bit of an easy start to the week, although given the team I'm using, I probably shouldn't be saying that. They've got a Fallen Edelgard on their team, but the Iotes and Mystic Boost is an interesting way to try and help keep her alive. I think the extra stats might be more generally useful, but stopping effective damage against armored can really help her survive people's strategies for breaking through her. They're backing her up with a Duo Leaf, an Ophelia. The Rally Up attack is a nice way to just get her forward into an enemy team to try and wreak havoc. With a Curtain's Gale Force Quickened Pulse Azura, then it's a fun build for her, but I think it's much more effective in player hands. And if she was using Iceberg here, it might help them secure more knockouts. And they're backing those up with 3 Mythics, a Saros, Thracier, and a Mirabilis. I'm not expecting this team to have too many problems here. We're going to need to take a turn just to open up some space to work with.
Really?
And carve out the area that we're planning to use.
Victory's on the wind.
Oh, I'll do it.
Reporting for duty.
It will be
We'll just
done.
move Naga here.
Over here?
flip Gatekeeper and move Reagan here to make sure everyone's buffed. Okay. Well, from here we're going to make good use of Plumeria's guidance.
If I have
Start
to,
by moving Felix up,
Close your eyes.
dancing him,
I'll
and we're
deliver.
going to knock out Mirabilis here. This is mostly just for convenience. It makes sure that we don't have to wait for Mirabilis to dance Thracier before she attacks, and lets us clear out everything except Azura this turn, hopefully.
Yes.
We'll have Surtur swap Plumeria forward,
What is your desire?
then we're going to smite Gatekeeper, and reposition him,
Where to
and have him use guidance to jump forward. Oh, can't quite. That's okay.
Greetings.
He can still do his job just fine right here. Yep, rally comes through. That's fine. Zeros can hypothetically get some damage done. Except that she runs into a 75% damage reduction and gets one-shotted. Thracier just gets outsped by Felix. And, well, Leaf can't really get much done either.
You've shown your weakness.
Yep, and there comes Azura's dance. But amusingly, Ophelia can't actually attack before Surtur gets to knock out Edelgard here, since Gatekeeper prevents her from moving beyond this tile that she's on now. And, well, since she can't get closer, she can't actually even clip Felix with her AoE, and doesn't get to do any damage to him at all. That first turn went really well, and now the only real thing left to do is pick up this Aether pot before we finish the match.
Reporting for
We can
duty.
actually just distract Azura with Gatekeeper here, since with his weapon online, she's not going to be able to do anything to him.
If I have to.
And while we do that,
I won't
we're
move.
going to get ready to smite Felix,
Victory is on the wind.
Yes.
to the right, so he can pick up this Aether pot next turn.
I'll do it.
Yep. He's fine.
What is your desire?
Then from here, we'll smite Felix. Oh, that's the real one.
Really?
It's alright. Azura can't reach Felix anyway.
Yes.
Then we'll just move
Close
Surtur
your
into
eyes.
position,
To the bottom with them.
and let him save Gatekeeper for this turn too. And down she goes.
Wail louder.
That was a nice clean match. Let's see what we get next. This match shouldn't be anything too terrible. It's a bit of a walled-in setup, and there's not a lot of reach that they've got to try and surprise people with. Unless you get caught off guard by Lilina and Julia. We're both in season this week. The Idune's an interesting 7th unit choice, and she can actually boost Zeros a bit with this Go Dragons. And they do have a plus 10 Cecilia over here, who's very bulky, along with a plus 5 Brave Ike, who's using more of an offense build than a defense one, and a Duma in this corner. Sniping the safe defense is a little funny, but it shouldn't really matter too much here. I'm going to need to take a couple of turns to set this up, just to clear open these structures and make sure we have everybody with the right buffs before we start. But overall, this shouldn't be a defense that causes us too many problems.
It will be done.
I'm just going
I'll
to
deliver.
open some of these things up.
I'll do
Miriam will
it.
break that.
Victory is on
Surtur
the
can
wind.
move over here,
Over here?
and Reagan can move here.
Where to
And
today?
Gatekeeper can start moving over towards the rest of the team. I think one of the funniest things about this is that I might end up taking advantage of this panic manner just to make sure that Surtur can get doubled by some of these units later in the fight.
Yes.
From here, we're just going to have Naga scooch back into this corner.
Reporting for duty.
Gatekeeper's going to move up here and get danced,
Greetings.
and then break this flag,
I
and
won't lose.
Reagan's going to move here to buff our team with defenses. And now that we're in position,
To the bottom
Surtur's
with
going
them.
to move up here.
Yeah.
We'll flip Felix into his position.
What is your desire?
Naga's going to move up here to continue buffing them for the next turn.
Close your eyes.
Mary's just going to move up here and test this trap. That's fake.
Where to
Okay.
today?
And Gatekeeper's actually going to break this shrine. Surtur doesn't really need his res getting debuffed, so... And the defense debuffs won't really do him much good either. Yep, Julia moves in first. She can do a little bit of damage to Felix. Not enough to really concern him, but... it's more than her allies can get done. Lena can do a bit of damage to Gatekeeper, but Felix is out of range of the special, so she can't get anything done to him.
Do I look merry?
Cecilia moves in next, since she's blocking Sarah's from reaching Surtur,
This is your name on.
which ends up debuffing Surtur's defense and res anyway, for this combat. It doesn't really accomplish too much, since she runs directly into that 75%,
Wail louder.
and then gets one-shot by the bonfire.
Reporting for duty.
From here, we can just start moving up,
Why not?
pick up these ether pots, while we let Surtur tank his way through the rest of their team.
Yes. I
We don't really have to worry about Felix very much anymore, since they don't have any ranged units to fight us with. And even though Surtur doesn't actually get his 75% reduction here, Idun still can't get much done, even with effective damage.
Please take you.
Where to today?
From here, we're actually going to do a few shenanigans to see if we can't finish this match off this turn. Let Felix swap Plumeria up, and she can dance Gatekeeper to go stand in front of Ike.
It will be
And
done.
then we'll just smite Surtur forward.
To the bottom with
We
them.
can move here and completely ignore this panic banner.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's still not going to be enough to let us get doubled
Blood comes in waves.
by the Ike. But we have just enough damage to punch through anyway. And then, well, Duma's not having a good time here.
The seas take you.
And down he goes. That went pretty well. Let's see what we get next. This match is going to be another pretty straightforward one. They've got a bit of a pseudo-fireball here, with Minerva with Lunge and a Goad, and Camilla with mostly just her base kit here and another Goad, along with the Wedding Ninian. The extra homes that the team is getting can maybe catch people off guard here, but I'm not expecting to have too many problems with them. And actually, Genny with the counterattack prevention is pretty important since it should make things pretty easy after the initial fight to stall while we pick the Aether pots up. The bonus weak leaf is fun to see, especially when he's being boosted by Cirrus as well. And the Triangle Adept Lancebreaker Har is going to be a fun thing to see Surtur handle. With all that said, I'm really not expecting to have problems here. Should be a pretty straightforward match. We're just going to take a turn to move into position and open up this corner.
Why not?
And we'll just let Plumeria break this.
Yes.
And have everybody start slowly moving into position
I won't
while we
leave.
clear some stuff out to help reach that pot in the corner later.
Where to
And
today?
here we should be able to clear out most of their team in one turn. We'll just move
I'll do
Gatekeeper
it.
forward and dance him. And then Surtur can jump past Plumeria. Gatekeeper can move up here to intercept the team.
What is your
We'll
desire?
move Naga over here,
Over here?
flip Felix, and move Reagan all the way up here.
I'll
And
deliver.
then Felix can just swap her to get into position. Minion starts with a dance, but it's not like the team can get much done here. Genny can't actually move at all to attack thanks to Gatekeeper. And while Cirrus can double, that just means she does very little with that first attack. And from there, yeah.
Take a look.
Glimmer doesn't do very much when you don't do damage to start with. A Moonbow would probably have done something for her here. And well, Minerva's not getting much done either. Neither is Leaf. And then Har with his Triangle Adept Lancebreaker. Still isn't going to get much done. From here, Surtur doesn't have too much else to do, since all of the melee are already gone. So we're
Where
going
to
to
today?
make sure Gatekeeper gets in on this action.
Why not?
We can dance him,
Reporting for duty.
and he can actually take out Minion.
Go!
That animation's so much fun. From
I'll
here,
deliver.
Felix can actually jump forward and protect both Gatekeeper and Plumeria from Genny. And Gatekeeper actually stops Genny from being able to reach anybody past where certain Plumeria is, really,
Over here?
thanks to that ranged obstruct. So we can just sit tight, let Felix tank another round, and then close out the match.
Greetings!
And down goes the pot,
Really?
and Felix gets one more iceberg by the end.
Here,
Bonfire,
take this.
sorry. That was a pretty clean match. Let's see what we get next. This match is going to be more interesting than the last couple, mostly because of this bonus week Pirate Inuko, who is extremely dangerous for any armor unit, specifically though for any blue armors that she attacks, because of the potential for brave attacks with, triangle effective damage on top. And it can be pretty spooky if the armor's not able to survive, which most of them won't. They've also got a very cool Elise-based theme team with 2 of her retainers. This Arthur is super impressive. Maxed out. And of course, Elise herself, who is not quite maxed out, but is still pretty impressively invested nonetheless. They also have a 7th unit Marth over here, who helps buff his entire team with +6 attack, along with buffing himself with +6 attack thanks to his special. It makes Arthur specifically a very significant ball of stats that might catch people off guard if they're not paying attention. They've also got Ceres and Mirabilis to provide their mythic bonuses and some dancing. I think I've figured out the right way to approach this with this team, but it's going to be a little bit dicey, especially for Felix tanking Hinoka. Part of this is going to come down to who Elise restores, but the way I'm approaching this, it shouldn't actually matter, even if she ends up restoring Effie and then getting danced to restore Hinoka.
Really?
We're going to need to take this first turn to use some movement shenanigans to get into place.
Greetings.
I'll do it.
And then I'll move Surtur over, smite him, and Felix can use guidance to swap him over to the right. And the first turn gets locked out. Now here, we're going to make good use of guidance to get everybody into position.
Close your eyes.
We can dance Felix from here, and he can just move onto this tile.
Where to
Gatekeeper
today?
can jump forward past Plumeria.
Over here?
We're going to flip Surtur forward
It will be
and
done.
move Naga over here. And now we're going to see if I did my math correctly. Elise should start the turn off by restoring somebody. Okay, so she goes and heals Effie, which is fine. Oh, and she went and healed Ceres instead. Very considerate. Hinoka doesn't actually outspeed Felix, which means that he doesn't have too much trouble handling her. And
The seas take you.
as much of a ball of stats as Arthur becomes,
The seas take you.
still can't handle Surtur. From here, we've taken care of the biggest threat on their team, and Elise is probably going to spend a couple of actions healing the next turn. But that's not too big of a concern. Surtur should be able to handle these 3 in the enemy phase,
Really?
so we're just going to have Felix pick up one of the pots
I'll do it.
before we dance him
If I have to.
and get everybody back into formation.
Yeah.
I'm just going to scooch Reagan up, and
Yes.
Naga too. Yep, there's heal number 1, and a dance, and another heal. It's kind of considerate, honestly, with debuffing Surtur's attack. Ceres gets, as usual, her first mitigated hit before getting wiped out. And even Marth can't actually survive Surtur, even with no follow-up and damage reduction. Neffy just, oof, gets a little dunked on. From here, I think we can actually close out the match this turn.
Where to
I'm
today?
going to start by moving Gatekeeper here,
Why not?
and then dancing him,
Greetings.
and he can pick up this Aether pot.
Over here?
Reagan is going to flip Felix forward, which should let him
I'll deliver. If I have to.
pick off Elise.
Do I look merry?
While Surtur uses guidance to move in and protect everybody from Mirabilis.
It will be done.
And down she goes.
I'll take it all!
That went well. It was fun to see. Well, after last week with Celsius, to see Felix tanking Hanuka this week. Let's see what we get next. This match is going to be another interesting encounter for Felix. It's not entirely a boxed-in setup. They do have one opening in this wall, but I do think this is a little bit easy to get stuck in a choke point overall. They do, on the other hand, have a very spooky maxed out Alm, who's in season, so it's getting all of the bonuses from 3 different mythics. And they're backing him up with a Celica, who's also in season, and a Duo Peony for the extra attack buffs, and a Winter Altina. Having these 2 Duo Harmonic heroes is a little interesting since they don't actually have a hindrance on their map, but I guess they're just counting on the firepower that they've got from Alm and Celica and Thracier and everyone else to just make trying to tank in this choke point something that you don't necessarily want to try. I don't think I'm going to have too many problems handling this. It should really just be about taking some turns to set up before we start this thing up.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to take a few turns though to do this, since I want to pick this Aether pod up before we get started, since we'll probably be able to close it out pretty quickly after the fight starts. I'm going to move Surtur down here and have Naga test this trap. It was real. Interesting. I was expecting this one in front to be real, but this works out pretty well. Having a Dancer as their 7th unit also means that I don't have to worry about any potential dance traps, since, well, Mirabilis can't actually be danced for a trap to happen. And from here, Reagan can pick up a pot and start moving back down, while we move everybody else
What is your
into
desire?
position.
Close your eyes.
To the bottom with them!
Where to today?
From here, we just need to take one more turn to make sure we get these tactic buffs onto Surtur and Felix,
I won't lose.
and then we can get things started. Right, and now we can just smite Felix forward. Found the other real trap. Good.
Really?
We're going to snipe Mirabilis, just to make sure that Almond, Thracier, and Peony can all move in and attack at the start of the fight.
Why not?
Mary is going to dance in and move him out of the way,
If I have to.
while
Reporting for
Gatekeeper
duty.
can jump forward and bait everybody in. Alm goes in first. He can get a solid chunk of true damage done, but that's not really too big a deal when Felix outspeeds him. Thracier moves in next and can do some damage as well. The extra stats from Ceres' Wings of Flight are actually doing quite a bit of work for her. But from here, Ceres should actually be the only one who can do damage, and, well, as we've seen so far this week, it doesn't really do enough. And then Peony moves in and, well, can't get anything done.
If I have
From
to.
here, since Peony very considerately charged up Felix's bonfire, we can actually just snipe Celica before she gets to attack.
This is your name on it. Where to today?
And since we found the real gravity trap, we can just have Gatekeeper move forward and pick up the second pot.
Victory is on
Before
the
Surtur
wing.
moves in and keeps him safe from Altina.
I'll do it. It will
And
be
then
done.
just sit tight
Yeah.
and close out the match. Yeah,
I'll take it all.
it's not a fight that's going well for her. It went pretty well. Let's see what we get next. This match is a bit of a throwback to the days of the standard Cav line. They've got a very impressively invested squad here, though, with a maxed out Reinhardt and Lynn, both with lulls, and then a maxed out Ursula, with a maxed out Nana backing her up. This panic effect is actually pretty important, as is this panic manor in the middle of the map, since they can do a lot of work for enabling Ursula's weapon, along with this Thracier and her ruse. These three columns in the middle are the ones that are threatened by the ruse initially, and it's something to pay attention to if the fight goes beyond one turn. They've also got a bonus weak leaf in the back, and a Ceros as their 7th unit. They've even got a threaten res on Ursula and a chill res and chill speed on these two, to try and force the issue with her weapon. I don't think I'm going to really have too many problems handling this, mostly since Felix is a very strong far save unit. And when he's got Gatekeeper to back him up, it should be pretty easy to corral all of these cavalry. We're going to open this right side up and use it to work with.
Greetings.
Gatekeeper can move forward, and
I'll do
then
it.
Felix can get danced and swap Plumeria up.
Yes.
We'll move Naga over here
Yeah.
and flip Surtur over that way as well, and keep everybody out of range of the rest of their team. There's the ruse. Reinhardt can do a little bit of damage, but it's nowhere near enough to actually threaten Felix.
Here, take this.
And Lynn can't actually do any damage at all. And then the rest of their team moves up. It's an easy turn 1. From here, this panic effect is really the only concern we have, but since Felix is only getting +6 attack here, getting that panicked isn't actually the worst thing. So we're just going to mostly ignore it. Okay, that was the real trap.
Why not?
We can dance Gatekeeper
Reporting for duty.
forward. We can have Felix swap Plumeria this way.
It will be
We'll move Naga up one tile. And then Surtur can swap her and protect Gatekeeper from Leaf. And then we'll just wait again. There's the ruse. Doesn't actually hit Felix, funnily. He gets panicked. It's okay. Ursula attacks and gets to do a little bit of damage before getting kind of wrecked. And then Surtur doesn't actually care much about the panic at all. Well, that actually ended up getting into a perfect little corner here for us this turn, and I think I've found a way to take advantage of it. We're going to move Felix up a spot, Surtur to the right, then we're going to have Reagan break this, and Kanto all the way over here. Oh good, it's not even real. Means that this movement was a bit unnecessary, but Still important to make sure that we don't get
Close your eyes.
exploded. And then we can just dance Surtur, and he can move over here,
Where to
and we can
today?
move Gatekeeper up here. He's still being protected by both Surtur and Felix, so that's not a big deal.
What is your desire?
And Naga moves up too. Nana attacks, panics Felix, which... fine. Oh, and Thracier can actually do damage this time, so she won't freeze. Works out for us. Ceres moves in and attacks directly into Surtur. Not going to accomplish much there. Which cleans up the map. And from here, we should actually be able to finish this match off. We'll move Regan up this way
It will be done.
and smite Plumeria,
Why not?
which lets her dance Regan to reach this pot. We can have
Reporting for duty.
Gatekeeper break this pot,
Victory is on the
and Surtur can close out the match. That went pretty well. Let's see what we get next. This match is going to be an interesting one near the end of the week. It's actually been a while since I've seen one of these setups with a Geoseekered dance trap and a corridor down the middle for them to stampede through. They're using a 7th unit Veronica as their dance trap unit. And she's actually a really great unit to use on the front line for that, thanks to her weapons are fine. And they're backing all of this up with a +10 rally defense Elliewood. And a +10 Lancebreaker Reinhardt. Peony serves as the second half of the dance trap to dance Elliewood once he rallies forward onto Seeker. And they have Duma and Ceres backing their team up as the Mythics. This used to be a very nasty little setup to approach, but I don't think this team is going to have too many problems with it. I'm going to need to do a little bit of setup here, but I should be able to get this started immediately.
Over here?
We're actually going to flip Gatekeeper up here and have him test this trap for us. Okay, that's real. That's fine.
Really?
Felix is going to move up here.
Why not?
We're going to dance him.
victory
Surtur
on
is
the
going
wing.
to swap Plumeria here.
It will be done.
Naga's going to break this cake.
I'll deliver.
And Felix is going to use guidance to hop up this way. From here, this actually really throws a wrench in their dance traps, since nobody can dance Veronica from this starting position. Which means the first thing that happens is Ceres attacks into Surtur and gets herself knocked out.
Blood comes in waves.
One of the dances should come through here, yeah. And then Reinhardt moves in and attacks Felix. But he really can't handle the response. Veronica gets danced next, and does even less to Felix. And Elliewood should move in last, and get himself knocked out by Surtur. Duma can't reach us here, and that's fine. From here, now that most of their threats are off the table, it should just be a slow march forward while we pick up the pots.
Greetings.
I'm going to let Gatekeeper test this trap. And we found the other real one. Excellent.
Close your eyes.
Veronica can step forward here,
Where to today?
and we'll let him break this tactic room just to open things up a bit.
Bottom with them.
If I have to.
Felix can break this shrine for us,
Yes.
and we'll just let everybody else stay in place and continue buffing our armors. Veronica attacks here, and that's fine. She can't do enough damage to Felix to really threaten him, so... And Peony's the last one who can.
Here, take this.
And then Duma moves in, gets himself wiped out. And Veronica moving over to the right here actually means that she can't get danced. So Secret moves in and gets himself knocked out. Gatekeeper's Obstruct comes in very useful against this sort of map. At this point, we really just need to pick up these pots before we close things out, and we should be able to do that this turn. I'm going to move Gatekeeper up here and secure one pot. Then we can dance him,
Where to today?
and secure the second one. Then Surtur can hop past Plumeria, and close out the match. That went really well. Let's see what we get next. This match is going to be a fun way to close out the week. It looks a little bit odd at first, since it is all walled in. But once you start looking a little bit closer, they've got a very impressively invested team here. The +10 Nagi, +10 Saros, a +10 Tiki, another +10 Tiki, and a +10 Flame to round things out. I don't think I'm going to have too hard a time with this, but I am going to need to take a turn to clear things up while we approach this. I'm going to have Naga open this up for us,
Over here?
and then we're going to have Regan test this trap, which is real. Okay, that's fine. I kept all of her important units out of the way of it.
I'll
Felix can move up and break this, and then Surtur can swap Plumeria here,
I'll do
which
it.
lets us dance Regan and move her this way. Then we can finish by having Gatekeeper pick up one of the pots. From here, we should be able to get things started with the help of guidance. Gatekeeper can open this up, and then Plumeria can dance him, and he can move forward to this spot, which should let us start baiting Saros out and then get Flame to attack him as well. Next, we'll have Felix swap Plumeria into position, which lets Surtur jump forward, and we'll cap out the corner.
Yeah.
And then we'll also just have Regan move over here, and Naga move up a space to make sure he gets his Dragon Slaying buff for next turn too. And Saros ends up moving in, and not enjoying that fight.
Blood comes in waves.
And then Felix can shrug off Flame very easily.
Over here?
Here, we're going to let Surtur continue to dominate this match, and we'll have him knock Flame out. Before we sadly have to dance Gatekeeper
Reporting for duty.
I'll do it.
forward
Where
to
to
intercept
today?
the rest.
If I
And
have to.
Felix can swap Plumeria forward to give him a little bit more support,
It will be done.
and we'll smite him over this way so he can pick up the pot easily next turn. Tiki rallies up first, and then we get danced. And then Nagi ends up attacking in. We don't get the damage reduction against her, sadly, but she still can't get too much done. Leaf moves in next, and yeah. It's not going so well for him. From here, we're just going to have to navigate around these rallies, but I think I have a way to do that. We're actually going to move Gatekeeper a little further forward. We're going to swap Surtur with Plumeria, which lets her move past this even with the tactic room slowing her down.
What is your desire?
And then we'll smite Surtur back up.
I won't lose.
Felix is going to break the second pot, and we'll just wait for them to attack. One of the Tikis should get themselves knocked out here. If not, both of them. Yep, there goes one. From here we should be able to close things out pretty easily. Surtur can hop forward and take down Mirabilis.
Close your eyes.
And then we'll just dance him. Swap Plumeria.
Yes.
And let him handle Tiki in the enemy phase. It ended up taking a couple more steps than I'd wanted it to, but we made it through that pretty cleanly. This was a fun week overall. Ended up having to do this match a lot later than I would have liked. I just had some schedule stuff going on and ended up doing this really late. But we made it through, and Surtur was a lot of fun to use in his bonus week. I'm looking forward to having them on the team. I do have a Discord. If you want to hang out and chat, there's a link in the description, and there's also a Patreon page there if you'd like to help support the channel. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video, good luck with your own matches, and I'll see you next time.